Ask 10 people whether they would buy the DJI Smart Remote, and probably 9 of them would say they wouldn't. But how many of them would actually want to see it in action? All of them? I thought so.
Woke up, told myself to push and never stop. I've been stressed out, watching both these hands around the clock, with my eyes wide. And blurry to me, answers getting lost. So I watch my back and keep it moving to the front. And remember that the world's yours, do it how you want. You've been waiting here for too long, think it's time for you to move on. Realize that there's real lies in these real times, so be strong.
I've been waiting all my life, and it was right before my eyes.
DJI released this smart controller just a couple of days ago during CES, and let's just say people were not too happy about the price of this device. The price of the smart controller is $649, and yeah, it's a lot. Just like I said in the beginning of the video, for 9 out of 10 people this would be too much and would be pointless to get, but there is just one person out of these 10 that this device would be perfect for. And I think that's me. For me, the biggest issue I've always had when I'm flying my drones is the strong sunlight. And the light that is just blocking everything on my screen. I cannot see what I'm doing and it's just getting on my nerves and I get pissed off. And here is where this device comes into play. The smart controller comes with a 5.5-inch built-in screen running on Android and capable of brightness up to 1000 nits. It basically eliminates the need for your phone, so it's one less thing to worry about, one less thing to charge, and one less thing to set up. So for me, it's going to be very interesting to see how this is going to perform in the long run, because like I said, I've been having issues with strong sunlight, and even if I'm going to a shady place where there is less light, I still have troubles with reflections or with just the sunlight is too strong and I don't see my screen that well. The remote itself feels very sturdy and I really like the build. It's quite heavy too, but I cannot complain about that. We have a couple of buttons on the front which are very similar to anything else that you have seen on any other DJI remote controller. So you have the pause button, you have a return to home button, we have the power on button and the joystick. Also we have the switch to go from tripod mode to normal mode and to sport mode. I really like the fact that this switch is now back in the middle of the remote, because in the Mavic 2 we had it on the side and I didn't really like that placement. Next we have two buttons here on the sides. One of them is to go back and the other one is to confirm the action on the screen. Speaking of the screen, of course it's touchscreen and it's quite responsive. So far I haven't had any issues with that screen. And now let's see what we have on the top part of the remote. We have a huge button for taking a photo and we have a slider here for customizing the camera settings. We have a huge button again for taking a video. And then we have the gimbal control wheel. Also, we have 3 ports here. We have HDMI, SD card slot, and USB 3. It's great that we have so much choice for different solutions. You can put your own SD card here and share files directly because you have an operating system here, and that's great. You can connect this to an external monitor via the HDMI port, or you can just charge it with the USB 3 port. Another port that we have here on the bottom is a USB-C for charging. On the back we have the new design for the antennas, which now have to point downwards while you fly, and that's pretty convenient because they're not in your way. And you also have a speaker here in the middle and 2 customizable buttons like we are used to on the Mavic 2 regular remote controller. Last but not least, we have the control sticks, which are hidden here, and I really like the positioning of those sticks. They are hidden very well and they have a nice slot for being secure and in place. This remote controller works only with OcuSync 2.0, which means it only works with the Mavic 2 Zoom, Mavic 2 Pro, and the enterprise versions of the Mavic 2. I think in the long run, this is going to be a good investment because OcuSync 2.0 is here to stay, and any other DJI drone that gets released should be using OcuSync 2.0, so hopefully we can save up a bit and not buy an extra controller next time we buy a new drone. Setting up the controller is quite easy. It only takes a couple of minutes and you only need to follow a couple of instructions, but I'll be making a video on that to help you guys if you want to see this whole procedure. But now let's see how this thing works. So this is the DJI Smart Controller. I have it here, and as you can see, the weather is nice, bright and sunny, and we're going to test it out right now. So now the drone is powering up and I am just powering the remote right now. So it takes a couple of seconds for the remote to start up. We have the DJI logo, and then we have this super nice and bright display that shows the Mavic 2 home screen. You probably can't see it that well, but for me it already makes a massive difference, because in this light conditions usually I'm struggling to see my screen, so now I see it perfectly. Under 30 seconds after powering on the remote controller, everything is ready to go. You only need to install the sticks on the remote controller, which by the way are different from the ones we have on the regular Mavic 2 drones. I'm perfectly happy because it definitely takes less time than setting up your phone, preparing everything. Here you just need to turn it on and you're ready to go. I can't stress this enough. It's extremely hard to demonstrate the difference between the regular iPhone screen and this new smart remote controller. You really have to see it in person, but I'll try to show you anyway. First up, I'm using an iPhone X set on maximum brightness with this DJI Spark remote controller, and here you can definitely see where my struggles are coming from. It's almost impossible to see the footage you're recording on the screen, and let's not forget about these nasty reflections that almost turn your phone into a mirror. Even under a shade, I can still barely see what's going on the screen. Trying the remote now, again on maximum brightness, and it's definitely a big difference for me. The image is a lot more clear and bright. I also don't see so much glare and reflections from my surroundings, which results in a better overall idea what's going on the screen. For me, this could mean the difference between making and missing the shot, and even just for this, I'm quite happy with the remote already. Next, I want to talk about the general feeling of flying with the smart remote and my overall experience with it. First thing I noticed is that the sticks themselves have a longer travel, which makes it easier to get smoother shots. In the past, I've ruined quite a lot of shots because of sudden movements of one of the sticks, and then I have to redo the shot that I was going for. Here, I felt a lot more in control and enjoyed the smoothness of the sticks a lot. The setup itself is almost the same as the regular controller, with the screen below the control sticks. I've heard many people complain that the layout should have been the other way around, with the display on top and the sticks on the bottom, but I disagree, as this is how the Mavic series have been so far, so I don't see a reason for changing it. I have a few concerns about updating the built-in DJI Go 4 app, as it runs on Android, and we all know that the Android DJI Go 4 app is a bit buggy, but I guess time will tell if this has been fixed or not. One thing that made an impression to me was the presence of vibration in the remote itself, something that we don't have on the original controller. It's nice and I like it, and I think it helps the controller give you even more feedback about the things that are happening while we fly. Another thing I have to mention is that all of my settings that I've set on my previous RC carried over to this one, except for one. The remote had switched to imperial units instead of metric, but that was the only thing. Everything else was spot on. It's still a good idea to go through all of your settings and make sure they've carried over to the new remote for a peace of mind. Of course, I've yet to test many of the features of this remote, such as an in-depth test of the battery life, the sharing option, all of its different settings and features, as well as testing other apps besides DJI Go 4. And that's pretty much it about this first look video of the DJI Smart Controller. Is it worth $649? Well, not for everyone, but for me, it is. It is definitely worth it. In the long run, this thing is going to be very, very helpful for me, for the things that I need it for. I think it's going to be a good investment. That being said, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Please let me know if you have any questions about this device. I'll be sure to respond or make a new video about your questions and reply in the video itself. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you in my next one. Ciao.